The Moon in the Dark, written by Tetsuro. Standing Toriel had lost all track of time as she held her daughter close to her, letting her into her heart. In this moment, she didn't need anything else. With her child in her arms, she found joy she had long forgotten. She found she wanted to scoop Wuna up into her arms and cradle her, rocking her to sleep and carrying her home, and let nothing hurt her ever again. She would have acted on that, had Wuna's stomach not chosen that moment to grumble. "Mommy. I'm good." Wuna looked up at her pleadingly, rubbing her tummy with one hoof. Chuckling, Toriel pulled a spider donut from her pocket and gave it to Wuna. "Here. This will tide you over until dinner time." Smiling whitely, Wuna eagerly devoured the pastry. "It's yummy," she said happily, her wings buzzing with delight. Toriel smiled as she got to her feet, Wuna dancing happily around her. For a brief moment, Toriel brought her hand to her chest. She'd felt the surge of determination sweep through her, and knew just how dangerous it was for monsters, even a boss monster like her. In very small quantities, it could help monsters grow, increasing magical power without increasing love. Too much at once, however, could damage a monster's soul. Her friend from beyond the door had told her a scientist had been studying ways that monsters could use determination, but that the research reports had just stopped one day. Closing her eyes, Toriel ran through a few mental magic exercises, burning off the excess magical energy that determination had filled her with until it was at more reasonable levels. With a smile, she then led Wuna through to the next chamber. Wuna happily followed Toriel into the next chamber. She immediately noticed that the chamber was incredibly long, stretching off into the distance until it vanished into blurs. She glanced up eagerly at Toriel, waiting for the next instruction. "Wuna," Toriel began, her voice soft and loving. "While I wish I could be with you every moment to take care of you, there may be times when I can't, when we'll be apart. I need to know you'll be able to handle that." She gestured forward, beginning to walk further into the room. "So, to know you can show that independence, I want you to cross this room, without me." Turning, Toriel continued deeper into the room, seeming to vanish to Wuna's vision. "Mommy." Wuna called worriedly, immediately racing ahead to try and catch up to her. As she rushed through the room, she noticed several strings of ivy climbing the walls, spaced evenly and growing to different heights. As these heights seemed to repeat, Wuna began to worry that the room had some sort of looping enchantment she had triggered somehow, and she'd be running forever. Her worries proved unfounded, however. It was a relief when she saw the exit to the chamber, and a pillar to one side between two columns of ivy. Seeing something behind the pillar, she leapt, glomping onto Toriel's knee. "Mommy, I did it." Toriel chuckled as she scooped Wuna up and carried her back out from behind the pillar. "Yes you did, Wuna. I'm so proud of you." Stepping to the arching portal to the next chamber, she set Wuna down. "Now, I want you to do something for me. Can you wait here for me? There's something I want to go take care of, a surprise I want to prepare for you. It might take me some time though. Can you handle waiting for me here without me?" Wuna thought about that for a time. "But, what if I get one you?" she whimpered. Smiling, Toriel handed over a strange, boxy device, showing Wuna how to flip it open to reveal buttons with labels she couldn't read. "This is a cell phone," Toriel explained. "With it, you can contact me anytime for any reason." She gestured to 3 buttons in order. "Push these 3 buttons, and it will call my cell phone. If it rings, you can push this one to receive my call." She pointed to the 3rd button. "Understand?" Wuna nodded. "I can do it," she proclaimed happily. "But, what if I have to go to Dark Bathroom?" Toriel chuckled. "Well, if you feel you do need to leave the room for any reason to move forward," reaching into her bag, she pulled out a large folded parchment. "Here is a map of the ruins. Each chamber with a puzzle also has recorded the clue that will let you solve it," she paused. "Oh, right, you cannot read our writing. Can you read yours?" "Uh-huh." Wuna agreed proudly. "I'm smart." Chuckling, Toriel placed her hand on Wuna's forehead, and her other hand on the folded map. Wuna felt magic flowing from her head and into the parchment. "Take a look now," Toriel offered. Unfolding the map, Wuna gasped. "It's in my letters," she cried happily. "I can wet it." Toriel smiled gently. "It's just a basic translation spell," she offered modestly. "If you feel the need to leave this chamber, the map will guide you now." Wuna smiled happily as she folded the map up. "Oh, how do I carry this?" she asked worriedly. Toriel thought for a time, then reached into her pockets for fabric, needles, and thread. With quick, deft movements aided by magic, Toriel sewed up a pair of saddlebags for Wuna, resting them over her back, just behind her wings. "There we go. You can put anything you find in there, as long as there's room." Smiling, Wuina reached under her wings and pulled the pouch of bits she'd brought with her, where she'd placed the 2 gold coins the frogget had left her, out from between her feathers and dropped it into one of the bags, slipping the map and cell phone into the other. She looked up at Toriel with a happy smile, feeling prepared for anything. Toriel smiled down at her. "All right then, Wuina. Stay safe. I'll be right back." Turning, she left the chamber. Wuina happily waited for Toriel to return. After a time, the cell phone rang. Remembering what Toriel said, Wuina quickly pulled the phone out and pressed the button. "Mommy?" she asked eagerly. A quiet voice, barely audible, emitted from one part of the device. "Mommy? I can't hear you." Wuina called louder, worried. "Is the cell phone broken?" The voice came louder this time, but all Wuina was able to make out was ear. Confused, Wuina lowered her head to the phone, putting her ear to where the voice was coming from. "Mommy?" she called worriedly. "I'm terribly sorry, Wuina," Toriel said through the phone. "I forgot to tell you that you have to hold the phone to your cheek, with your ear and mouth in range of the 2 grills." "Oh." Wuina breathed, holding the phone to her cheek with her hooves. "That's why I couldn't hear you." Toriel chuckled softly. "Anyway, I was calling to tell you that my errands are taking longer than I thought. I shouldn't be more than another 5 minutes, though." "Okay," Wuina replied happily. "I love you, Mommy." I love you too, Wuina," Toriel replied, her voice thick. "Stay safe. You too." After a moment, Toriel spoke again. "I forgot to tell you how to hang up the phone, didn't I? You can do it either by closing it back up, or pressing the red button opposite the green one you used to receive my call." "Thanks, Mommy," Wuina replied happily, closing the phone. Wuina waited a while longer, only for Toriel to call again. "Wuina, I'm afraid I'll be delayed a bit longer," Toriel apologized. "I found what I was looking for, but before I could take it, it was snatched away by a small white puppy." In a murmur, Toriel continued, "How odd. Do dogs even like flour?" "To PWA wine, maybe," Wuina offered. Perhaps," Toriel allowed. After a time, Wuina's phone rang again. When she picked up, however, she only heard heavy padding, followed by a couple of high-pitched barks. In the distance, she heard Toriel calling, "Come back here with my cell phone." Realizing what had happened, Wuina set her cell phone on the ground and took a deep breath. Wuina used Royal Candlelit voice. "Dorky!" she shouted. Toriel's eyes widened as she saw the little white doggy go tumbling from the force of the shout. "Give Mommy back her phone." Yelping, the little puppy raced back to return the phone in flour to Toriel. She smiled as she picked up the phone. "Thank you for that, Wuina," she said into the phone. "Happy to help." No, Wuina's voice was cut off in a scared gasp. "Wuina?" Toriel called worriedly. "Wuina, what's wrong?" Wuina stared back at the entrance to the long chamber. She could barely make out the details, but there was a flower there that wasn't there before. She could see the white center, the golden petals, she saw the light glinting off the teeth in the grain. "Ugh!" she screamed in terror, racing into the next chamber. "Mommy, the bad fly is chasing me." "The bad flower?" Toriel asked in confusion from over the phone. "The one that hurt me." Wuina whimpered, ducking into the friendly embrace of a frogget that was on the other side of the doorway she'd just dashed through. "Wuina, listen to me," Toriel explained. "I want you to keep going. On the map, you'll see a house marked. Meet me there. Plot your course carefully and do not backtrack unless you can't avoid it. Above all, be careful, all right?" "Okay, Mommy," Wuina whimpered, shivering in the frogget's embrace. "I know you're scared, Wuina," Toriel reassured her softly, "but I'm too far away to make it there in time to help you. I need you to be brave for me." Wuina nodded. "Okay, Mommy," she replied back. "I love you." "I love you too, Wuina. I'll call frequently to make sure you're okay." Hanging up, Wuina got back to her hooves. "Okay," she whispered. "I can do this." As she got ready to leave, the frogget hopped into the room to the north, and came back with a piece of candy for her. Smiling, Wuina slipped it into her bag. "Thank you," she said gratefully, nuzzling the frogget. As Wuina moved onward, she encountered a strange monster that looked to her like a sock puppet with tiny wings. As the fight began, the name above the creature was Whimsum. As Wuina watched the Whimsum, she noticed just how scared it was. Smiling, Wuina sat down to let the Whimsum see her peaceable intent. After a time, the Whimsum left of its own accord. While Wuina regretted not being able to befriend it, she knew she couldn't waste too much time. As she entered the next short chamber, she glanced at her map. Seeing that the center of the room was pit traps, Wuina buzzed her wings, managing to hover over the center to continue onward. In the next chamber, Wuina paused as she received a call from Toriel. "Are you doing well, Wuina?" she asked worriedly. 2 chambers onward, Wuina replied. "I'm okay." "That's good," Toriel replied. "For no particular reason, do you prefer cinnamon or butterscotch?" "I would them together," Wuina replied happily. "Tastes so yummy." Toriel chuckled. "That is good to know, dear." The chamber she was in was blocked by a path of spikes. There was also a rock near a discolored floor tile. Since the mat mentioned pushing rocks, Wuina attempted to push the rock onto the discolored tile. However, the rock didn't move. "Mommy did not think was Thwaya," Wuina muttered. She sat and stared at the rock, trying to figure out how to do this. As she was waiting, a frogget engaged her in a fight. She smiled at the frogget. "Can you help me push Dawek?" she asked, pointing. "It's too heavy for me." The frogget stared at her for a time. However, seeing no hostility or deception, it nodded agreement, pushing the rock for her. Once it was on the tile, the spikes dropped. "Thank you," Wuina called gratefully, giving the frogget a peck on the cheek, causing it to croak in embarrassment as its cheeks turned red. Giggling, Wuina progressed into the next room. The next chamber was nearly covered with cracked floor tiles. Looking at the map, Wuina saw 2 images of the chamber, one above and one below. Reading the clue, it stated, "Don't step on the leaves." The lower chamber was nearly covered with leaves, except for a narrow path. Looking carefully, Wuina followed that path over the floor tiles, and none cracked beneath her hooves. The next chamber contained 3 more rocks and discolored tiles. However, the lowest rock seemed different from the others. Approaching it, Wuina began examining it. "What are you looking at?" the rock demanded. Wuina was surprised to hear the rock talk, but she rallied gamely. "I never saw such a hefty chunk of stone outside the mountain as CWIFFS." The rock shifted back and forth, preening. "Well, I am pretty strong," it bragged. "I bet you I could even push the other Wex onto the switches and hold them down so I could cross," Wuina offered. The rock eagerly pushed the other 2 onto the switches before stopping on its own. "Behold my power," it proclaimed as the spikes went down. "That's amazing," Wuina proclaimed as she crossed. "Thank you." Waving happily to the talking rock, she moved on to the next chamber. As she continued, she encountered a trio of bulbous monsters identified as Moldsmals. They lay immobile, not seeming to do anything. Wuina decided to do the same, in an attempt to show her understanding of them. The Moldsmals shook a bit of water off of their bodies, but Wuina had laid out of reach of it. After a time, the Moldsmals withdrew into the ground, leaving a gold coin apiece behind. Glad to have made friends, Wuina continued onward. In the next chamber, Wuina found a table with cheese on it, and a mouse hole. She could see the mouse staring at the cheese, plainly building up the courage to go snatch some. Seeing the mouse's struggle, Wuina felt brave enough to continue onward. In the next chamber, Wuina found a ghost pretending to sleep on a pile of leaves. She wanted to make it more comfortable with her, so she curled up beside it on the leaves. The ghost looked at her. What are you doing?" he asked nervously as a fight began, the name Napstablook appearing over his head. "Being FWINDLY," Wuina offered. You really want to be friends?" Napstablook asked worriedly. "Of course," Wuina replied. "I told Mommy I would print every monster in the winds." Napstablook chuckled a little. "You're kinda cute." "You too," Wuina replied eagerly. "Hey, let me show you something." Focusing his energy, Napstablook caused his magical energy, which manifested as tears, to rise up above his head and take shape as a top hat. "I call it Dapperblook." Do you like it?" Wuina nodded eagerly. "Let me try." Thinking quickly, she pulled out the map of the ruins and folded it into a hat she placed on her head. Wuina equipped cartographer's cap. "Like it?" Wuina asked. "It's adorable," Napstablook replied as the lines of the fight faded. "I normally come to the ruins because nobody's around, but today I met somebody nice." Smiling whitely, Wuina attempted to hug Napstablook, only to fall through him. "Oof." Chuckling, Napstablook settled around Wuina, wrapping her completely in his ectoplasmic form. "Here, have a black hug." Wuina snuggled into the ghostly embrace, the gentle friendship filling her with determination. "Thanks for